All right, everyone. Here we are again with another exciting episode of From the Margins with James Auffant with my dear friend Jimmy Auffant, attorney extraordinaire. Hey, he is my political godfather here in Florida, and he's got a lot to say and a lot to share. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm doing fine. This is the rainy season for those of you who do not know in Florida. And for the record, the next time I talk to you, it'll be September.
That's right, Jimmy. Where did this year go?
I don't know. I don't not know. But it's kind
It
of interesting that it's gone.
And now that you mention it, Jimmy, I have to share something with you. As I was going through the podcast stats last week, I looked at how many, excuse me, I'm getting all choked up here. I looked at how many episodes we've done. And we have done to this day, if we count today, Jimmy, today we will have 99 episodes.
So next week we celebrate 100.
Yes, we
Whoopee!
do, sir. Yes, we do. Congratulations. Yes,
Congratulations.
yes, we do. So I
Before
will
I,
make,
yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to ask, do we have any comments that we might that I should reserve some time
You,
for?
you know, we do have some comments, and I've been looking them up. I can tell you one thing, Jimmy, and I'll go to TikTok. We've gotten a lot of likes on TikTok for the comment, but then on Instagram we've got a lot of likes too. One thing I do want to highlight, though, Jimmy, is that we did an episode where we mentioned 9/11, and the question was in that particular episode, or in this particular short form content that we played on TikTok and also Instagram and YouTube. The title was "Who Really Sponsored 9/11, the Saudis or Iran?" And would you believe, for about a month now, that particular short form content on TikTok is still under review. They just won't publish it, Jimmy. They just won't.
Oh,
And when you look at YouTube, when we posted that short, I can tell you, as it comes up right now, I can tell you that we've got, let's see here. We'll go back. I don't think even YouTube allowed it to be published. I just don't see it, Jimmy. I just don't
okay.
see it.
So I hit a nerve. And that's
Yes, you did.
good. I like that.
Yep. Okay. I did a little fooling around here, and Jimmy, they would not publish it either. Nothing. No views. No comments. No nothing.
Good. So, okay, that's good.
Yep.
I
So
wonder, I wonder
go
if they're
ahead.
taking and not publish what I'm going about to say today to start off with. Let's go
Okay.
into the first thing, the grand jury in Florida. For
Yes.
months, not now, for months I've been saying that they took $10 million from the money of a settlement from a health insurance company here who wanted to settle, and stupid enough, they put it in writing, right, as I said before, and they diverted 10 million of that settlement to the whole program, which they eventually used on to defeat the marijuana statute. But for those of you who think that's a good thing, that's not the case here. The case is here is that they diverted funds that were supposed to be used to repay the state of Florida for
Yeah.
monies that were improperly paid by the state of Florida, which should have just come back to the general funds of which those funds were paid, which was Medicaid, but none of them went back. Here's
Yep.
the interesting thing: the grand jury's report comes out a week after the Florida primaries,
Yep.
and it had been done 8 months ago. Not that it just came out that the grand jury finished it. For those of you who think that bullshit, no, no. 8 months ago, the grand jury completed its report, sealed it, And people have been asking for it, asking for it, asking for it, asking for it, and the state has refused to give it. Now, here's the arrogance of DeSantis and his group. They knew,
Mhm.
they knew that the criticism was that they couldn't put the finger on who was the criminal that it was in charge, but they blamed number one the corrupt attorney general of the state of Florida, who was then the chief of staff for the Sanctions. Okay, he was then appointed, and the shuffling of rewards that the Sanctions gave to people to attorney general when DeSantis appointed the attorney general to be a U.S. senator.
Ashley Moody.
Took this uh, the agriculture secretary, made him lieutenant governor. Like the lieutenant governor
Jacobs.
appointed her to become the chief of one of the universities in South Florida. It was a shuffle. Okay, now the persons who approved these monies and this agreement did it based on three factors. One, that the Attorney General Moody okayed. So her hands are dirty and she's corrupt. Two, that the governor had approved. Their signature is on the document. Approving taking this $10 million and putting it in to Hope, which was a nonprofit run by the governor's wife. It's not a government agency at all. They took that $10 million and they used it to defeat the marijuana requirement by lying to the people here that there will be smoking in the parks. That you can't smoke in parks. Cigarettes, you can't smoke anything. Okay,
Right.
it's a crack of bullshit. Okay, so they were going to go and do that, and they did that, and the marijuana thing did not get the 60% that is required, which is interesting because we have a couple of amendments right now that may not pass because I don't think they're going to get the 60% that is required. But that's another story for another day. But if you're wondering which one I'm talking about, it's the property taxes. People are divided because it's not clear what services they're going to lose once they cut the taxes.
Correct.
It's not clear. So that's why.
Correct.
Now, this is where it's interesting. If you think that it came out this week, the week after the primaries, by coincidence, you're stupid. If you think it's a coincidence that this happened after this, you do not understand the corruption of the state of Florida. DeSantis, his attorney general, and Moody said, yeah, we can release it now because it won't hurt me in the primaries. Well, the truth of the matter is, they're going to say that Nixon is a social democrat. And now Nixon can say that Moody is a corrupt politician who signed on taking money away from the state of Florida, diverting it into a private nonprofit. And the same could be said in the attorney general's race. This is this was done on purpose. They think that this is such a Republican state that there's no way that Moody's going to lose. There's no way that the attorney general is going to lose. I don't think they realize that now in November, everybody's got to deal with the independents. And how they're going to go, it's an independent going to say, yeah, I'm going to vote for Moody because even though she's corrupt, I'm not sure if they're going to do that. And but they're counting that now they could do this. By the way, before we forget, I think both of us want to congratulate CBS in Miami. They did an excellent investigative job. And we know all these facts thanks to them. So thank you. I mean, when I call fake media or I could say media doesn't do their job, I will also congratulate them when they do.
Yeah.
So that
it was Jim DeFetti who did the report. And for those who are listening and watching, the exclusive by CBS News Miami, Jim DeFetti. The title is Grand Jury Finds DeSantis Administration Misappropriated $10 million in taxpayer money to Hope, Florida.
And to be quite honest, for those of you who still think that DeSantis could win a primary against Rubio, against Vance, and other candidates for the president to become the nominee for the Republican Party, I think he's dead. Sorry, with this, if he was half wounded, with this, he's dead. I mean,
Right.
and a Republican primary, this will come out. Okay, you don't have to think that the liberals or that. No, I don't think he will come out of a primary as a Republican candidate. This has killed him for good. And anything else he decides to run for, this might be the kiss of death. So DeSantis, start practicing law again because that's the only option you have
And
now.
Jimmy, I read the CBS Miami report and just trying to follow the dots connecting from one administrator to another elected to another. It was convoluted, which I think was done on purpose. So there's plausible deniability. And the grand jury, like you said, stated that, there were no indictments handed down because there was not one person who could take responsibility for what had happened. And I believe DeSantis and Moody, and if I remember correctly, even now Attorney General James Altmaier did not testify in front of the grand jury, and they're not speaking to the grand jury findings because of it's the grand jury, and by law you're not supposed to or whatever. I don't know.
But there was one thing about the Attorney General that I found interesting. They
Okay.
said that he was a principal.
Yes, that's correct. That his involvement was more pronounced than the others.
Yeah,
And at
that he
that
was
time, he
following
was the chief of
instruction
staff.
from DeSantis. Probably, I have no
Yeah,
doubt. But so yeah, it is going to be uh, a contention during the race. I can see Moody say, "Well, Pierre's a social democrat," and she's going to say, "Yeah, but I didn't steal money. You did. I'm not
right.
corrupt. You signed an agreement to deviate funds that belong to the state of Florida and put them in a private, not-for-profit organization." And
I
there's proof of that in a grand jury document. I'm just not making that up. Here it is in black and white.
and this story broke yesterday. And I know on my social feeds, I saw the Democrats at large, the state party, comment on this. However, the commentary has been muted from what I've seen from Democratic operatives, the local party. However, again, the state party did have something to say. I haven't seen anything from Nixon's campaign in regards to this. Uh, I'm, I'm probably I'm, I'm probably thinking correctly that they're putting together a social media campaign at the minimum to get this information out to the voting public, so that they're aware of this and they'll just run with this for the longest, until, at least for
I,
Nixon's campaign, until election day.
I could see Pax putting it out there on Moody, on the Attorney General,
Hmm.
because the Senate's not running, so he's out of this. Collins
Right.
is not involved. So, question is, did this help or hurt the party? Because one of the problems that I'm seeing in this election is we tend to call Donald Trump corrupt. And he is. Don't misunderstand me. The
Okay.
only president who's made $1 billion during his presidency through Bitcoins. If you think that's a pure coincidence, I have a bridge over Lake Okeechobee that I'll sell you for $10. Uh, it is. But now we have at Florida, that the pretty boy that everybody liked, DeSantis' hands are dirty now. Yeah, it is something that is interesting, and believe it or not, affordability is number one,
Right.
but number two is corruption.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, yes, both parties are corrupt, but the one that's in power right now and stealing is the Republicans. So the party that's in power, if things go wrong, gets blamed for it. It's always that's the American way. It's not that we could, say,
Right.
well, it shouldn't be, and it's not fair, blah blah. Blah. But you could, but the truth is, the party that's in power, if things are going bad, things are going away. And with that,
Jimmy,
yeah,
I'm so sorry. Jimmy, I know what I'm about to tell you or ask you is preposterous. However, we're in politics and politicals will try to find every angle to a story. Because this money was set aside, the settlement was for children's and families' health care, and 10 million was supposed to go to Hope, Florida. That money through Hope, Florida was found its way in the campaign against Amendment 3, which you spoke about. And Amendment 3 at that time was legalize marijuana. The effort was to defeat Amendment 3, that $10 million. Jimmy, I know it's preposterous, but you know how these how us politicals are. Do you think the spin on this would be, well, marijuana is bad for you? Then we will use the money to prevent a health concern or a health crisis. You think maybe we would hear that in some kind of explanation as to why they did what they did?
it will work with a certain group.
Sure.
The rest of the group with no better. Marijuana, contrary to popular belief, in every state that you have put it on the ballot, recreational, except Florida, has passed.
Yeah.
And they
Right.
used it to
Okay.
kill that by lying about it. So the
Okay.
truth of them, and because we have a stupid requirement of 60%, because if we're going to be honest, it still passed by 50 something percent.
Correct. It
The
did.
majority of people were
Yeah.
for it.
50
So if you're going to
plus.
say,
Yep.
hey, we did it, but it's because it was bad for you and you people are stupid that voted for it, if they want to use that, be more power to you. Because I think that's one of those things that you and I would say, that's going to backfire if you do that. So it would in my opinion, it would backfire. I think it was 57% of people voted for this amendment. For all due respect, you're going to tell them, hey, you were stupid. You were voting for something that's going to be harmful for you, even though there's
Mhm.
no proof that it is harmful. And by the way, the whole campaign did not say it was harmful. It was like it was be smoking in front of the kids. It would be driving high. They would, you know, which is kind of interesting because now I could go and say to the doctor that I'm depressed and he gives me marijuana. So, and I could be smoking it legally. So
Right.
it, you know, it's not like it took it away. So I don't, they might do it because like I keep saying, they're stupid to think that now it's not going to bite in the butt. Moody and the Attorney General, and it might not. You might be right. It might not, but I'm not sure. I wouldn't take it for granted.
Right.
And if Moody would have won by 60% and end up winning by 52, that still would be something to think and debate about.
Good point. Good point.
So let's go into Operation
Economic
Economic
outcasts.
Outcast. Yep.
Yes. We've
Uh,
got Secretary of Treasury, the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessant, earlier this week, say that every financial tool that the United States of America can use to strangle the illicit financial networks of Iran are being employed and or deployed, and anyone who is found to be assisting the regime of the IRGC will suffer consequences. What say you, Jimmy?
okay, let's get this clear. I'm going to ask a trivia question. Which does this sound similar to what John F. Kennedy said about Cuba
Mhm.
or what Ronald Reagan said about Iran 48 years ago? The answer,
I.
the answer to that, it is really Ronald Reagan.
Mhm. Okay.
And the problem that Ronald Reagan had is the same problem that Donald Trump has. The week after they said it, and not even the week, the next day that uh, Secretary of Treasury said it, China said they do not care, they're not intimidated, and they will do business with whoever they want, and they would invite the U.S. to try to have an economical war with them, and the U.S. will go down.
Mhm.
North Korea, 2 days later, said they will continue doing business with Iran.
Sure.
Russia has said they're going to continue doing business. The problem with always with this is that we could bullshit the world and we could bullshit the American citizens to think that we have a power that we don't have. Look, our economy is large, but so is China. And for those of you who do not know this, as of this year, China has purchased over $45 billion of oil from Iran during the war.
Mhm.
Okay? During the war. We all know this. We don't
Yep.
talk about it.
Sure.
We don't say about it. And we don't know. And they're being paid. And by the way, for those of you who are wondering how the guards are being paid, they're being paid by bitcoins that
Mhm.
China sends them to pay for the oil. And then they take it and they pay the Revolutionary Guards. So when you say that the economy is choked, that they're not doing business with Europe, well, it's fine. Right now, guess who met with China this week?
Um, I don't know. I know Trump is meeting with China at the end of September.
No. Who was the last person this in the last week to tell us to go fuck ourselves?
Oh, not Carney in Canada. Oh, Carney is such a globalist cuck.
No, no, no. He's not a
Excuse me.
globalist. No, no, no,
Oh,
no, no, no.
yes, he
Wait a minute.
is, Jimmy.
No,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not. No, no, no,
Jimmy.
no, no, no. Wait
Okay.
a minute. No, 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 no. Stop that. We bullied him and said, you're going to have to kiss my ring. This is what I'm going to pose on you." And what did he say? Fuck you. I'm not going to accept that. And if you tariff me, I'll tariff you. Look, and I'm going to ask you this in a very respectful way.
Sure.
If Carney had threatened the U.S. and Donald Trump told him to go fuck himself, you would go say, "Good, Donald Trump. That's the way to go." Okay. The problem that I have is that, somebody told us to go fuck ourselves when we threaten them first and say, "We're imposing these tariffs on you, 50% tariffs on you." And when they're supposed to say, "Okay, man, no problem, we'll pay it." No, no. First of all, they don't pay them. We pay them. Okay. For those of you who think that they don't, we pay them. Okay.
Sure.
But, but
Yeah.
this is we do business with them mutually. Okay. I was in Maine. And the people of Maine do a lot of business with Canada
Sure
because
do.
it's closer for them to sell their products 50 miles away in Canada than it is to send them to Florida. It's pure
Sure.
economics. The same thing with Michigan, the same thing with Ohio that have the lakes that connect and the bridges that connect. Let's stop
Mhm.
pretending. It's a business
Sure.
thing. But when he said, "This is what I'm imposing this," he said, "In response to your tariffs, we're saying no, and we're going to tariff you." You know, if you want to call him a globalist, the biggest globalist is
Oh,
Donald
yes.
Trump. So let's
Yeah.
stop calling other people. He is. He wants the businesses everywhere. He wants to control everything in the world. He wants to tell. He wants to start wars in foreign countries. He's a globalist. He's always has been. I understand what you're going to tell me. He's not that smart, but he is. He's a
Who, Trump?
globalist.
Yeah, very smart.
No, he's dumb as come. He's a bully, but he's dumb as dumb come. He did. Look. He was advised that if he went to Iran, what was going to happen? And guess what? He said,
Mhm.
fuck, I'm smarter than you. And he went in. Look, the dumbest person is the one that doesn't listen. Dumbest person is the one that doesn't listen. He didn't listen. He went in, and we're still in war with Iran, despite the little cartoon he put out today saying mission accomplished. Bullshit.
Oh,
Mission
he's
accomplished. It's
he
not
said
been
what?
accomplished. He put out
He sent another one out. Oh my goodness, he's trolling us. You know that, Jimmy. He's trolling us. What he does. He sent another truth on Truth Social. The Lake of America, or Lake America instead of Lake Ontario. It's
and they
like
could do that. Look, the only idiots that call it the Gulf of America are the Republicans. The rest of the world calls it the Gulf of Mexico. And that's beside the point. He could call it the Lake of America, and the rest of the world's going to call it Lake Ontario, and that's fine. Look, this is the thing that we have to understand. We put the choke on Cuba 60 some years ago, and it didn't work. Why? Because Cuba did business with China, did business with Venezuela, did business with other countries. We have kept them with no oil, except the one that comes from China, Russian on occasions, for the last 60 days. Have they come any closer to surrendering? Not really. Have they come into any closer to agreeing for us to do whatever we want and appoint Marco Rubio as their president? Not really. Uh, Why? Because they're still doing business with other countries. And let me tell you, my friend uh, Armando Gonzalez, let me tell you the real world, because this bullshit of the banks and all this shows like his mentor said, and I'm about to read how Bessant does not understand the word economy. You, my friend Armando Gonzalez, a Cuban who is in Jamaica, he buys tobacco, fishes, things that people from Cuba come in a boat from Cuba to Jamaica, trade for US dollars, trade for US, and it's not a small person, 200. He has taken loads of tobaccos, put on them cohiba. That's why
Mhm.
people say that they're Cuban. Put on them a wrapper of cohiba, and he has paid $2 and $3 million to these boats in cash. Okay. Oh, where does he get the cash? From the U.S. banks. You order it, and they send it to you. Okay. It's no big deal. That is, you have to make a form out for paper. Yeah, this has been going on for years. So when you ask me, we're going to choke the banks, Bassett, half of the business is done by cash. Example, I told you last week about the frontiers that Iran has with other countries. They cross the frontiers. Hey, I have this. Okay, here's cash. And they take it back. This is the real work. And now it's even worse. Banks, nobody uses banks anymore. Heard of Cell? Cell's not a bank. Cell, you transfer money from one person to the other. Okay,
There are different payment rails. Yes, that's true. And
PayPal, and
yep,
you and I can keep on going. The other thing is bitcoins,
blockchain.
blockchain, and others.
Yeah.
Look, there are. So when he says I'm going to choke the banks, like his mentor said the other day, Bassett does not understand the real world. He's giving us a bag of bullshit, and a lot of Republicans are buying it. But I will tell you one thing: I will make a bet right now that come December, the economy of Iran is going to be hurting. Yeah, it's going to be hurting. Is it going to be to the point that they're going to surrender? No. As a matter of fact, you know what they announced today? That based on the memorandum of misunderstanding,
Hmm.
Oman and Iran have agreed to charge for boats to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, and they will split up the money. And guess what?
Oh,
It's
I
going to be
gotta check
paid,
that out.
and it's going to be paid with bitcoins.
I have to
Look,
check that out.
are we going to be there for the rest of our lives with votes preventing there? The American people doesn't want that. The Republicans don't want it. Okay? The MAGAs don't want it. The MAGAs want him to just get the fuck out of there and let them kill themselves. Very simple, no problem. So, and he's trying to say mission accomplished. Are you? If he thinks it is, fine. And he wants to get out there and say to everybody who believes him that he did something. Look, Scaramucci had a comment that I never forget. He talked with Chuck Todd the other day. When he was the 19 days Secretary of Communication under the first
Correct.
Trump administration, he was told about certain things. And
Correct.
one of the things he was told was the Masonic agreement of understanding that Iran had, which was basically that they have 9 scales of different people. You kill these people, these are in power.
Just
You
another
kill those,
layer.
these are in power.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. So when he
Correct.
says, I killed these, and that's why I say stupid, you have to know that there was already a group that was going to just. Scaramucci said, I knew that in 19 days that I was in the White House.
Mhm.
He says maybe when Donald Trump was explained, he didn't pay attention to it because he doesn't pay attention to half of the things he's told. It's not that he's stupid; he just doesn't pay attention, doesn't retain it. So when he said, "I took them out," yeah, but there's a new one. Who's in charge right now? Well, that's a good question. Why?
Yeah.
Because some of the people that were in the second layer had to be replaced by people in the third layer because they were killed. Look, truth of the matter is that it's being governed. They're doing their thing, and that people are eating. People are going to bed at night. There's still medical care. There's still light and stuff. And I would pray for him as a former military person that he get out. Because one thing that the press is not covering, and this is why I have problems with the press at times, is the amount of soldiers who are asking to be relieved of their duty and who are
Mhm.
not re-enlisting because they say that they are asked to commit acts, crimes of war. Under
Mhm.
this, the Geneva Convention, the way that we have agreed to behave is that you do not bombard civilians, you do not bombard bridges, you do not bombard houses unless you can establish that something other. But the way that they've been bombarded, civilians have been killed, that they cannot prove that they had anything there, eliminating bridges that connect one neighborhood from another, that
Mhm.
the military might travel over it. That's a bullshit expression, but that's, and my promise that a lot of the press is taking whatever they're told and just repeating it and not investigating. Look, I'll give you an example. CBS and everybody in the state was told that Hope was bullshit, that didn't happen, that was a lie, that the people were saying that were liars. And now CBS took the time, the effort to do it because I'm going to say the Orlando Sentinel and the other didn't do it. So this
Yeah.
is truth of the matter. The soldiers are discouraged. They are on that. And we have shown that what Eisenhower told us is correct. And you know what Eisenhower told us in the 50s?
The military industrial complex. Is that
Yeah.
what you're
What
referencing?
this is what the part that they leave out of that. Okay. Right now, right now, I'll give you 2 examples. From 55 industrials, we went down to 5.
Correct.
Okay. Boeing is one, and that's why Boeing has lost all its contracts with Southwest and everybody else because the planes that they're putting out are subpar. And
Hmm.
now most of our U.S. carriers are flying planes from Europe.
Okay.
And for those of you, well, are you trying to say they're superior? No, I'm going to put it the reverse. Ours are inferior. Look, if you think that the flights that crash Boeing 737s were just a pure coincidence? No, no, it was proven that it was a screw up with it, both the software and the planes
Okay.
made by Boeing. If you think that the doors falling out, the windows falling out, happen to be all Boeings and not Airbus and the others that are made in Europe are just a pure coincidence? No. Are there more Boeings than Airbus? They're more or less the same amount of number in the airlines. The truth of the matter is that basically Boeing has a, a, a contract with the government to which is given priority. They're preparing jets and other things for the U.S. military. That's their top priority, and the back burner is the airlines. So the airlines have said, "I'm not going to take any more back burner," and they're going to you. So it's not that. But the other part of this is this: we have allowed the industry to tell us these are the weapons you need. These are the weapons that are going to make you a great country. There's a movie that came out that very few people did, and it was about a tank.
Okay.
Okay, tank was approved by the U.S. government. The Army gave it uh, a great review, and then it was started to be manufactured. The U.S. government ordered 150 in its first order, a couple of billion of dollars. Israel ordered 25 with 182 modifications because the word from the procurer from Israel is that the product was a piece of shit, but with these modifications was acceptable. We have allowed the industry to tell us what weapons we want, where, what the price is, and what is it that we're doing. Right now, this war has shown that the weapons that we've been told we needed, the weapons that we bought, because let me explain to you the real world. The real world is that these people have lobbyists up the
Right.
kazoo, and they pay them to pay our congressmen and senators to vote for weapons that are not necessarily the best, but are the ones that the lobbyists are pushing. Okay?
You bring up a good point, Jimmy. I listened for the second time. An interview on Uncommon Ground. The interviewer is Peter Robinson, and he interviewed Palmer Luckey, the CEO, owner, founder of Anduril, the next generation weapons manufacturer. And he was saying the same thing. The procurement process is old. It is decrepit. It is it smacks of cronyism, and the government has been paying for weapon systems that are good. However, there's better. And Palmer Luckey and Anduril and other next gen weapon manufacturers are creating the autonomous weapon systems, the drones that are much cheaper than the fighter jets and things like that. He said some very insightful things. What really hit me the most was the fact that there's a better way to do this, and that America should be out of the business of warfare. However, it should be the world's gun store. And I was like, whoa, that kind of hit me. And it's a good interview. However, in the administration's attempt to make America first in just about everything, weapons development and weapons delivery, delivery systems of this next gen systems should be a priority of the government.
But
And
it's
yeah,
not. But it's
it's
not.
not.
And the people who are in charge are not going to make it that. And for the record, you know who showed us how ineffective our weapons are? Two countries.
Who's
First,
that?
Ukraine. Ukraine
Hmm.
is winning a war with drones and robots. Okay,
Okay.
somebody sitting in their living room in their underwear with a drone bombarding Russia. It's
Hmm.
not even a pilot. If they take
Hmm.
it down, nobody dies. That's for the record. And the drone costs less than 1% of what a jet costs. For those of
That's
you,
true.
okay, just so we know. And they've shown us that they are winning the war against Russia using drones and robots. Yeah, you destroy a robot and it costs us about $14,000 to $20,000, the ones that they use. Uh, yeah, and they have to replace it. It's cheaper than having to replace a human being. Uh, but the second country is the one that nobody wants to talk about because we hate
Who's that? Russia or China?
neither of them.
North Korea?
No,
Ooh, who's that?
look, this is let me give. Okay, I'm going to give you math. Not
Oh, I just heard it.
yeah, me too. I'm going to give you math, not passion. After the first bombardment, Iran threw over 100 missiles and drones towards Israel.
Yeah.
Those drones and missiles, in an average, cost between $3,000 to $12,000.
Oh, yeah.
We use Patriots and others things to take them down that cost between $4 and $6 million.
Yeah.
So we paid $4 million. I'm going to go into cheap side to take down a drone that cost 3,000. Okay, just pure mathematics. I'm not trying to go into passion if it is right or wrong. Just going to give you pure mathematics. That's why we're saying that the old ways of procurements are wrong. Okay, because basically what they're saying is, okay, I'm going to take you down. I'm going to throw out 100 then. So you have to throw 100 Patriots
Hmm.
at $4 million each. That's close to half a trillion dollars. I mean, half a
Yeah.
billion dollars.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. I'm not trying to go into passion that if they're right or wrong. No, 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 no. Don't go, please. I'm trying to say is they have shown us our vulnerability is that we are spending money to take down drones and missiles. And basically, the missiles that were taken down, yeah, they could kill people. And the drones, yeah, they could kill people. But we have to find a way that's much cheaper than spending $4 million to take down a $3,000 drone. There
Indeed.
has to be a cheaper way. And that's what I think
Eh,
the young was talking about, that the way is archaic, the way is old, and and basically at the same time, I would like somebody to explain to me why a rocket costs $4 million. Oh, it has a system. Bullshit. That is my problem. That basically these people set their prices, set their weapons, do whatever they want, and
Yes.
we're at their mercy. And basically,
Yes.
with all due respect, that's not the way to do war. And that's what Eisenhower told us in the 50s. The second part of it is they are doing whatever they want and charging us whatever they want. And with all due respect, prior to World War II, basically the armed forces had a section that developed weapons and then would hire private companies through bids to produce them. Rifles, cannons, and all that.
Mhm.
Nowadays, it's the reverse. They come and tell us we need this when we don't. They tell us we need this when we might need it at a price that is astronomical. I hate to say this, but Ukraine has taught us a grand lesson. If you want to still hate Iran, I understand that. But the truth of the matter is that they did take down a lot of our patriots, and that's even now we're admitting that we are low in these missiles. As a matter of fact, that's why we lost 18 soldiers because we used them over there, and when they threw towards our bases and and Saudi Arabia and other countries. We didn't have that many to use to protect.
Mhm.
So but Ukraine is using $3,000 drones and being as effective as a $300 million jet,
Yeah.
taking out the same things, and. And by the way, they don't have to replace parts. They don't have to do this. If that drone goes to Russia and falls in the middle of Russia, they lost $3,000. Whoopee. If it comes back and it got hit and needs to replace a couple of things, they have the parts. This is, you're right. This young man is completely correct. We need to change the way we do business. This procurement system is a ripoff to our government from our free enterprise. But that's, I think, but I don't see the choking. I don't see it happening. Three of the largest, two of the largest economies, other than the U.S., as a matter of fact, China and Russia said they're going to continue doing business with them. Uh, Basically, India has not said they're going to participate in it. There's a bunch of other countries who have not said they're going to participate. So I have this long impression that it's bullshit. And I'm going to read something that I want to read down. Stanley F. Drunkmiller. He is the former boss of Mr. Bessant.
Yes, yes.
Okay? He is the one person who can say to the Wall Street Journal, I want to write an opinion op. And I say, sure, when and send it. He is considered the person who knows the most about bonds in the world.
Sure.
And he said, I'm going to read a little. I spent 5 decades trading on a simple premise: markets aggregate information, not no committee process. The prices are how that the information reaches the decision makers. Having term insurance yield is the most important price in the world.
Okay.
It is also the only fiscal discipline the U.S. has left. And the way that we are trying to handle our Treasury bonds is irresponsible. And guess who does that? That's Bassett has made some sense. And his
Oh
former
yeah.
boss, and somebody, so, oh no, this is a lefty, right? As a matter of fact, this is a registered Republican. Correct.
Sure.
I went out. So he's saying this. Look, I have a concern, and I'm going to bring it up now. We're trying to tell the American people Bass is going to choke them to death. We've tried to choke to death Russia, and we've been trying to choke to death um, Iran for the last 48 years. As a matter of fact, it's kind of interesting. Netanyahu said that this is not going to bring down Iran because Iranis are fanatics. And he has a point. They are fanatics.
Sure.
Uh,
The IRGC.
yeah. Well, no. And the people, look, this is a religious belief. And, and they, if they feel that the U.S. is putting pressure on them, the way they're going to respond is not positive towards us. It's kind of
I
negative.
think the IRGC and the people are very much different in Iran, right? I mean, yeah, I
Well,
mean the
can I ask you? Let me put it the reverse.
Mhm.
I think our government and the U.S. citizens are very different.
Yes.
So I would agree, but I think it's let's not think like that's something unique.
Oh no
Maybe
no no. I mean there I'm sure in the greater public populace of Iran there are supporters of the IRGC. There's no doubt about that.
well,
As here in
it's
America
not
there are
supporters.
supporters.
I'm going to go a little bit reverse. I'm going to use the U.S. as an example. Uh, I don't think that everybody agrees with our president, but I'm going to give an example that we lived.
Hmm.
It's about to celebrate 25 years, but yeah, here goes. YouTube and TikTok, and this one is for you. When 9/11 came around, there was nothing that united this country with more patriotism, with more unity than that event. People had flags in their cars like I've never seen before.
Yeah.
It created unity because we felt that we were attacked. From what I'm understanding from the news medias in the area right now, because we attacked Iran, that has created unity because they feel attacked by us. There was children killed. There were bridges that are there. We have affected their grid, and they do not think or feel that we're doing it to help them. So basically, right now, that has created unity so you can understand where they're coming from. We were attacked. It united us. They were attacked, and it's uniting them. It's a human nature thing. It's not that they're different or so. When we tend to think that they're not in connection, you might be right. And most of the people were supportive of what Bush was doing in 2000. Were not Bush supporters; they were American supporters. So I always have to say, right now, those people who came out to the funeral and carrying death to Trump, they were not exactly pro government as much as you attack me, I'm against you. It's a different human nature that at times we have a different understanding on how it works. But this is the truth of how things are working right now. So, yeah, I would agree. They don't agree, but at the same time, they feel national unity because we attacked them. That our attack was justified or not, let me put it this way. Bin Laden felt that what he did on 9/11 was justified. Nobody else but him, but he felt it was justified.
He had warned us that it was coming.
But yeah, and that was not the first time that the towers were targets. Let's
That's
not.
right.
So, because that's the other thing that we tend to forget. But the truth of the matter is, right now, yes. But I don't think the is going to go down. Now, there's a couple of things I would like to mention today. There is a group that originated in Florida, had its original force in Florida, and was very, very big in Florida, called Moms for Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
They ran and controlled the Sarasota school board, and strangely, and to the surprise of everybody, even though in Sarasota County there's 163,000 Republicans registered, and there is 84,000 Democrats, the three Democrats, two of them, one straight out, and the other one is in a race against Moms for Liberty. According to the article Sentinel, Moms for Liberty has disappeared. But
Yeah.
I want to bring them up because this is the part that bothers me from the press. You want to talk about social democrats? Let's talk. You want to talk about Moms for Liberty? These are also extremists. Okay, these are the ones who want to ban school books. These are the ones who want to make sure what the curriculum is for the kids. These are the ones who want to make sure what the teachers do and can and cannot do. And these are the ones who are basically even saying that we should tell and teach our kids that slavery was a necessary part of our economic situation during that time, and that it was only a process of it, and it was not as cruel as we all know it was.
Jesus. Yeah. That's just
And
stupid.
these are the Moms for Liberty. Okay, let's not get into the Christian nationalists because those don't want Muslims in this country.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want Jews in this country. This is a Republican group. So both of the groups have what I would call extremists.
Sure.
Okay,
Okay.
and to say that one side is going to die by it, I don't think so. I think
Mhm.
that our country is extreme. We don't want to say it. Our country's become very extreme. But I would like to close the program with something that I would like to read to you again.
Okay.
This was in 2016. I'm going to give you one guess who said this. The national debt, which has at this time reached an astronomical number of $21 trillion, is going to be the thing that will throw our economy down the toilet and must be fixed immediately, which I guarantee will come down as day one that I become elected, was said by Donald Trump in his 2006 campaign. Why do I bring that up?
Mhm.
Because from his mouth, it was 21 trillion.
That's
But those,
right.
oh, that's bullshit, blah, blah. That is his mouth.
Yep.
Okay? And he's right. In 2016, it was 21.
21 mil. Trillion.
Now, for those of you who say, well, Biden, we're going to blame everything on Biden. Well, okay, you're right. When Biden finished in 2022, the deficit had reached $27 trillion. In fairness, not created by Biden and not created by Trump. Whoa! He's saying no, no, no. This was Congress and Senate giving out money like there was no tomorrow because of the pandemic. And the cost of having produced the vaccines and the cost of things being closed, yes, the government went like a prostitute and went out and printed money like there was no tomorrow. And it ended up in 27 trillion. That's the amount that was when Donald Trump took presidency in 2025. Now, for those of you who forget this, the Congressional Budget Committee, which is supposed to be impartial, nonpartisan. If you're a Republican, you say they're Democrats. If you're Democrats, you say they're Republican. Said that the great, beautiful bill would add from $5 to $7 trillion to the national debt the first year. And they did not know how much more it would add. Pure mathematics, if you cut your income, you have less money to spend. If you cut your income, your debt is going to go up. So, I mean, you don't have to go to Harvard for that one. But you cut the taxes to the billionaires and some taxes to the upper middle class. I won't say the middle class because that's not exactly correct. And basically, we cut Medicaid and we cut other programs, but not at the same level. So there was that's where they came up with the 4 to 7 trillion. Not me, but a group that's very independent that
Mhm.
does it for and has their own website has came over and said that the trillion that right now our national debt is $40 trillion. I don't care if
That's
you're a
right.
Republican. I don't care if you're a MAGA. I don't care if you're a social democrat. I don't care if you're a Democrat. That is unacceptable at
Mhm.
all levels. Who created it? Okay, I understand some of you got to argue, well, it happened under Donald Trump. Yes. And I would have to say that at least 10 million of the 10 trillion of that was caused by a great, beautiful bill. I'll accept that.
Okay.
But this is why the youth wants new people. This is why MAGAs do not want conventional politicians and want some new people with the hope that they bring some sanity to this country. For those of you who keep with the bullshit, let's make America great again. This is not making America great again. This is making us worse. This is screwing our economy. My grandkids are going to pay for this, so are yours and everybody else. And the problem is that it's not going down.
Mm-hmm.
It's going up every year at a rate of $4 trillion. And what's our government doing about it? Absolutely nothing.
What would be the first thing you would do, Jimmy, to start reducing this debt?
First of all, you have to bring in three things. You have to stop cutting your income.
Okay.
And you're going to have to say to the world, look, we're all going to have to participate and pay at least 20% of our income. Oh, I'm a billionaire. Everybody should pay a minimum of 20%. Two, might be time to consider national sales tax. That would make a lot of money. Okay. And there's other countries that have national sales tax. Okay, just so we know. Three, we have to see our spending. We are wasting a lot of money on everything except one.
True. What's that?
Social Security. Why? Because it supports almost 40% of the population of this country. If you cut off Social Security, you're going to make life more difficult for 40% of the population, and you're going to have to find a way to overcome that. Second thing is that you're going to need to understand that we need to get the lobbyists out of it. Social Security is going bankrupt because economically it was said, if this is the gross income, then we were going to get 20% of that, 10 paid by the person, 10 paid by the employer, and this will be able to do it. And it will function. The problem is that the first 185,000, you pay taxes for Social Security, but past that you don't. And the rich who are making $3 million are only paying for the first 185. So the national economy, the 10% is really a 4%. That's why it's hurting. You're going to have to address that. The last but not least thing that you're going to have to address about that is say, if we cannot afford it, we're not buying. Look, we're buying a lot of stuff right now, and I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Correct. We need $70 billion to replace all the weapons that we spend in Iran. That $70 billion is going to fund the national debt because we don't have the money. We're just putting it on the credit card. Should we be spending money that we don't have? That's a good question. Should we be wasting on procurement things that we probably could buy in Europe and other places much cheaper? Oh, no, but we have to buy American. That is something that we need to do. We need to understand that we're going to have to sit down and say, we're going to have to make some serious cuts. Are they going to be popular? No. I'll give you an example. MAGAs, Make America Great Again. If you go back to before World War I, we didn't have income taxes. This country survived. Before, we did not have, and this is going to be an even more interesting thing, expenditures that we have right now in the Department of Defense. We don't. Oh, we are the greatest country in the world, and we have the best and most great weaponry. Not really. Times have changed. A $3,000 drone could take down a building as effective as a 300 million jet. But we don't think those ways because we don't. Okay. I gave you an example today during lunch. I was offered by my car dealership, Chevrolet, to pay $200 more than what I'm paying right now for a smaller car with more down payment. Hyundai said to me, sure, you could have it done, son. Do something. Excuse me. And if you give us $4,000 down and so much, and because I'm having to pay directly from my bank to Hyundai Financial, I'm paying $262. And I have all the whistles in my car.
Yeah.
And us Americans are buying cars from South Korea because they're good, they're
Yeah.
reliable, and they're cheaper.
Yeah.
But our Department of Defense is buying more expensive, less goods, and less efficient. But it's okay because we trust them. We need to end this. The procurement system is kind of out of balance. But the other thing, we need to understand how this is going on. We are wasting our money on things that we don't need and don't have to need and stuff like that. We have more tanks in this country
Mhm.
that we don't use. Every year we buy more tanks. But for, I have no idea.
Well,
We have more
well,
tanks
well,
and tank drivers. We have
yeah.
more tanks than we have mechanics to fix them.
Hmm.
That is the reality of this. Right now, procurement, we couldn't find a way to supply the Abraham Lincoln carrier. We couldn't find a boat that would go and fix their toilets. But we waste money on a lot of stuff. And so, yeah, it's a matter of finance.
Mhm.
With that in mind, let's go to the fuck ups of the week because we have
All right.
major ones.
Okay.
Donald J. Trump, you have endorsed various candidates because they kissed your ass. You endorse somebody who says she has no idea about foreign matters or national security matters, but because she's the sister of Lindsey Graham, you endorsed her. And she's probably going to win, and you're going to just get yourself done. That's fine. You have endorsed some candidates that have lost. That's also fine. The Republican Party is starting to get more and more in bed with the Christian nationalists, and then you wonder why the Muslims are voting Democrat. I don't. The times have changed. When the wallet is tight, people don't care about social things. They don't care about woke things. They want to hear about how you're going to fix the economy. I know you can't tell them that because you have no idea how to do it. I understand. But you're a screw up that you still don't get it. You still keep saying that affordability is a made up word by Democrats, and it's a made up word that's going to cost you the midterms. Democrats, stop, stop, stop talking about things that nobody cares about. Come up with a plan as to how you're going to fix the economy, how day one, you're going to try to get our troops out of Iran, how from day one you're going to try to normalize relationship with other countries, and how day one, if you take the House and the Senate, you would take over the tariffs and leave the president with no powers whatsoever. That's what you need to talk about. And for the record, I want to end this thing with this statement. People, you keep talking about things that nobody cares about. Are Christian nationalists bad people? Yeah, yeah. Are uh, Democrats, socialist Democrats, have some weird and strange ideas for us? Yes, but I wouldn't call them bad people. Why? Because they're not trying to destroy us. But
Mhm.
here's the issue that we should be talking about. Today, gas is $3.99 in Florida. Nationally, it's still $4.15, and it's been that way for the last 4 weeks. We are less than 90 days away from the election. And if you think that people are going to forget things, hey, most politicians will tell you that people start paying attention to politics the week after Labor Day. Bingo! That's next weekend. Not this weekend. Following weekend is Labor Day.
Yes, that's right.
So for those of you, no, they don't pay attention until after Labor Day. You're less than 10 days away from it. So with all due respect to all of you, if you don't fix up this economy in the next 10 days, you will lose faith. Your enemy is not your neighbor. It's not your crazy uncle or your crazy aunt. Your enemy is the U.S. Congress and the U.S. Senate. And at this time, the U.S. President, who's got us in a war that nobody wanted and nobody's really in favor of it. Even those who try to say, they try to justify it. They don't even say that they wanted it or that is the correct thing. They would justify it, which is another way of saying, man, I don't dare say that I agree with the majority of people here that the war's. So, with that in mind, next time we'll try to get your comments and we will talk about some other things. But remember, subscribe, like, dislike, I don't care.
Thanks, Jimmy. It's been
Thanks.
great. We'll
It's
see you
been
the
great.
next time.
See you next time. Okay.
Bye now.